They're after me, Lucky Charms. I don't know why I said that like a pirate. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Strength Classroom. Today, it's going to be a huge focus on accessory training, assistance work, whatever you want to call it. Now, it can be broken up into different categories, and that's what I'm going to talk about. Everyone always thinks assistance work, accessory work, always has to be something super fancy. Now, to me, what I label assistance or accessory work is just simply something that's not my main movement that I am doing to improve that main movement. Now, everyone always says, why don't you just do more of the thing you're trying to get good at? Yes, that is also an approach, but what happens when you can't possibly do any more? There needs to be something that needs to be addressed. If that was the case, every powerlifter would just squat, just bench, and just deadlift. They would always use the same grip, same stance, everything. So clearly, weak points, different muscle groups need to be hit to address weak links in the chain that might be interfering with strength. So that's what the purpose of accessory work is. It's for addressing muscle weaknesses, help with your strength development, help prevent injury, and that it improves your big lifts. But this goes well beyond powerlifting. Sure, you want to get better at squatting, pressing, hinging for athletics, but think of your assistance work as things that are going to help, I hate this term, but bulletproof your body and help you be more resilient to injury. There's three different strategies or three different categories of assistance work. I like to think of, there's the weak point, where you target weak points in the lift, like different ranges of motion, where you tend to fail. Then there is the muscle building type of assistance work, where it's you hypertrophy the muscles that might be holding back strength. Then there's recovery, injury prevention, rehab, prehab, things like that, like tiny little muscles. Think about like external rotation, calves, things that are not big basic movements where you're not going to be moving huge amounts of weight, but they're going to be paying dividends in terms of strength and keeping your body in the game. So weak point training is all about identifying where you're weakest in the lift, so where you are weakest in the range of motion, and it directly addresses those areas. This approach ensures balanced development and helps you break through possible or existing plateaus. So let's look at some examples for bench presses. You have board presses, close grip bench presses, alternate angle bench presses. These are all going to work different muscles and different ranges of motion that will help strengthen the actual competition bench press. So if you are weak midway through the lift, maybe pausing through the lift and doing a spoto press or a board press or a pin press will directly strengthen that area of the range of motion. We can move over to squats. If you are someone that relies on a lot of rebound, maybe doing squats to a box, squats off pins, or pause squats can help you explode out of the bottom. And then you can move on to things like deadlifts and hinges. If you are always getting stuck right below your knees, maybe setting up some pins or some blocks at that range of motion will help strengthen that area of the range of motion. And then you have Romanian deadlifts. Once again, if you need a lot of time under tension at the top because you feel like that area is underworked, that can be a good strategy. So weak point training is almost doing variations of the exercise you're trying to get good at, but in very specific ranges of motion. Now, section number 2, and this one's actually the most common because no matter if you're a powerlifter, bodybuilder, whatever, hypertrophy training is going to be in everyone's routine. So muscle building exercises are key to hypertrophy. Duh. It's about growing the muscles that support the primary lifts, so posterior chain for deadlifts, the quads along with the posterior chain for squats, the chest, the shoulders, the triceps, even the supporting muscles, the upper back, the lats, everything involved in the actual exercise. The more muscle mass you have there, the stronger and more stable you are going to be when displaying your strength through the compound lifts. So for upper body, for the bench press, you can do lighter weights of the barbell movements. You can do dumbbell bench pressing, which provides a greater range of motion than a barbell, and it helps with getting more chest in there because your arms and from side to side are going to be working unilaterally. They're going to be able to converge in and out. It's just different than a barbell. Then there's incline bench press, which focus more on the clavicular head of your chest and the shoulders, and that's an area that often needs more development if you want to have a strong bench press. Then there are bent over rows, dumbbell rows, any type of row really that's going to target the lats, the traps, the rear delts, and that's crucial for maintaining a stable back throughout a strong pressing movement. And then you have things like dumbbell flies, tricep extensions, lateral raises. These aren't going to be your main builders towards stronger pressing muscles. However, getting these muscles stronger, especially if they are lagging far behind, are going to be able to keep these little tiny muscles. They're being able to keep you injury free. So think of face pulls. That's good for balancing out the shoulder blades. Some high rep, time under tension triceps. That's good for the tendons around your elbows. So don't think of everything that has to be, let's say, optimal and a big mass builder, but think of keeping the tendons healthy. Sure, you can do heavy ass extensions, but that'd be more earlier in the workout. If you just want to pump, that can also be a good strategy as well. Then the lower body, you have Bulgarian split squats, lunges, leg curls, leg extensions, good morning variations, back extension variations, hamstring curls, all sorts of things that are going to develop the muscles of the lower body, but not be super stressful. Obviously, the more stressful is going to fall into almost like the assistance. It's going to be a big main movement. This is more hypertrophy. It could still be a big main movement, but you need the weights to be slightly lower and higher reps to hit just more volume. So I usually suggest for exercises in this rep range to do moderate to high reps, 8 to 15 reps. They can be slightly lower, but I don't really advise it, especially for something like leg curls. You're not going to do a set of 5 for leg curls. That's just not a good strategy at all. So emphasize time under tension. Make sure you are feeling the muscle work and it's going through the appropriate range of motion. This will help stimulate growth if you focus on the mind-muscle connection. That's how you're going to grow. For these exercises, don't just focus on moving the weight. Focus on moving the weight with the appropriate muscles that you are trying to target. Section number 3, recovery and injury prevention. So the accessory work here focuses on preventing injury. So these movements are less intense, help with muscle recovery. They will build stability in the joints and help you avoid injury over time. So for shoulder health, if you can do some really high rep face pulls, band pull-aparts, external rotations, those are going to be good for your shoulders. For knee health, you can do band leg curls or honestly any leg curl. The step-ups can help strengthen the area around the knee, terminal knee extensions. Anything that's going to get a lot of blood in the muscle from like an awkward position. You're not going to load up banded hamstring curls to the point where you could barely do one. But a strategy I like is doing exercise like this for sets of 50 to 100 reps. Sure, you can go slightly lower, but I like the approach most of the time to just get a lot of blood into those muscles, and that's what's going to help with injury prevention. So you can incorporate these exercises at the beginning or the end of your workout. It's completely up to you. You see what you feel like you respond to best, and then that's the only way you're going to know. The 3 strategies of assistance work are the Weakpoint Training, which targets specific sticking points. There's the muscle building area that supports hypertrophy for balanced strength, just build muscle of the appropriate movements. And then there's the recovery and prevention that help with injury and bulletproofing your body from injury. So I obviously think everyone needs to sprinkle in exercises from each of these 3 sections. Obviously, depending on what phase you are in your training, you're going to focus on one more than the other. But all in all, these are the 3 strategies. You pick the ones that you feel like you need at the time, and that's how you're going to reach your goals. So if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a great day.